So, we're gonna discuss the different parts of black and white film and color film. But first, we're gonna discuss first the black and white film. So, let us discuss this very, not that fast, but very simple. So, emotion. The emotion contains with the silver hint grains, which is our silver hint grains, the circular thing in here that usually you can see. The work of that is to absorb light with a developing chemical. So meaning to say, the silver hate grains are the one inside the emotion. So meaning to say, eto mga bilog-bilog na to, ito lang yung ito yung etong mga diamond, I'm so sorry. The silver hate grains natin, sila yung the one that absorb the light coming from the camera lens natin or coming from the lens or passes through the lens. So, they absorb the light with the help of developing chemical. So, that is the emotion. Which is the emotion is the first layer. The second layer is the plastic film base. So, usually, what's the work of the plastic film base? Very simple. To support the emotion. On what support? To process the light, the color, the black and white color, to process the black and white color or the light to more centric. Kumbaga, dahil this is a black and white film, the process of the light in here will be black and white. So, the only role of this plastic film base is to help to process the black and white color more centric, not centric, more efficient to transfer the black and white color more fluent through the anti-halation layer natin. Which is, what is the work of the anti-halation layer? Very simple. The anti-halation layer used to capture the light coming from these silver hate grains with the help of developing chemical. So, usually, hindi mag-i-stay dito yung light. Yes, they absorb the light, but they not absorb. Hindi lang basta they absorb the light. The light that they will absorb will passes through with the help of the film plastic base that helps the emotion part, which is the silver hate grains that helps to process the light from here to here from our anti-halation layer, which is the work of our anti-halation layer is to capture the light coming from this end, not just to capture the light, but also to refrain it from bouncing back to the top. So, ganito lang yan. The only work of this is to capture the light. To capture the light coming from this absorbent, which is this one are the one that absorb the light. So, her role is not only to capture light but also to prevent reflecting the light backing the up to the emotion or to the top. Why? Kasi masisira ang figure natin pag ganun. Kaya nabuo si anti-halation layer natin just simply to process the image clear and not to process the image destroyed. Kasi, this is the thing. Isipin mo, kung walang anti-halation layer, ano mangyayari? Di ba? Magbabounce back yung natin. Una-una magbabounce back yung light natin. And then, walang image na makakapture. And then, walang sasalo nung na-absorb na light coming from these silver hate grains or usually our emotion layer. So, ganun lang kadali. So, that is our black and white film. So, next, our colored film. So, ano nga ba yung what is the process of every parts of a colored film? So, let us start. So, top coat. This top coat is a layer of plain gelatin that protects the underlying layers against abrasion and damage. So, super coat, usually this is our top layer. Act as a protection to prevent the layers underneath him to have abrasion and damage. Ganito lang kadali yan. Para ka lang nagkaroon ng tempered glass, para ka lang may tempered glass sa cellphone. Ayun na yung work niyan. Just to prevent the layers, these layers, to be damaged and have bruise. Kasi, if kung wala to, masusugatan yan at masisira, the image will not process. Because, alam mo yun, butas-butas, di ba? Like, hindi na makakapag-process na maigi yung picture. Or usually, wala ka talaga mapaprocess na picture. So, next, our UV absorbing layer. Coming from from itself, UV absorbing layer. So, ano trabaho ni UV absorbing layer? To absorb the UV light coming from the camera lens or passes through the camera lens. So, usually, ganito lang kadali yan. Ito yung nag-absorb ng light. Siya ang absorb ng light. Even kahit anong light yan. Like we said, the UV light. Her role in this part is to absorb the UV light coming from the camera lens or passes through the camera lens. So, next, the first emulsion layer. So, what is the work of this first emulsion layer? This first emulsion layer, which contains a blue sensitive silver Hague plus, contains daw ng blue sensitive silver Hague plus, which is turns a yellow forming color coupler, which is, as you can see in here, turns into a yellow forming color coupler, which is the truth about this is a blue sensitive silver Hague plus that turns out to be colored yellow. So, what is this work? This is a colorless substance that reacts with a decomposition product products of the developing agent to generate dye in all areas where a silver image is produced and in proportion of density of that silver image. So, usually, dito nangyayari yung pinakaunang process ng light. So, usually, everything of the light will happens in here. The process of the light that the UV absorbing layer that absorb on this first emulsion layer, the process will work. The first process will do on this part. And then, next, the yellow filter. So, what is the yellow filter do? A yellow filter layer which holds back the blue light from the subsequent emulsion layer. So, meaning to say, this is too short. Ito na lang. Ang trabaho niya is to backfire the blue light or just to hold back the blue light. Yes. Gato lang. Pinapadaan niya yung light. Yes, pinapadaan niya yung light. But gato lang. He allows the light passes through, but the blue light will be held because of her work. Because yellow filter, that is her work. To hold back the blue light and will not passes through on these layers until on the bottom part. So that's the work of the yellow filter. So next, the second emulsion layer, which is the color magenta ones. So what is this work of this color magenta ones? Our second emulsion layer. So let us start. So the second emulsion layer, which contains a blue and green sensitive silver Hague, blue sensitive silver Hague, green sensitive silver Hague plus a magenta forming color coupler. Remember, the blue sensitivity is suppressed by the yellow filter color layer. So what is the meaning of that? So meaning to say there are no blue colors passes through because of the work of the yellow filter. So ganito lang kadali. May mga light na nagpasses through. May mga light na dumaan. Pero yung mga light na yun, walang blue. Kasi bakit? Ba't walang blue? Because of the work of the yellow filter. He holds back the blue light and he will not allow to pass the blue light through the bottom or through the absorbent. So, Next. And then, then usually, this magenta color here is actually like I said earlier, this magenta color here is a blue and green sensitive silver haze. So usually this is a blue and green sensitive silver haze that forms into the color of magenta, which is applies color to the process of the image, or the process of the light that will turns out on the final touch will be the image. So next, the third emotion layer, which is the last part of the emotion layer, which is the Cayenne one. So what is the work of this Cayenne one? So the third emotion layer, which is a blue and red sensitive silver haze plus contains a Cayenne forming color coupler, which is the blue again being suppressed. So meaning to say, until here, there are no blue lights because the blue lights had been held up of the yellow filter. So ganito lang kadali. Wala pa rin dumaan na blue light diyan. Yes, may light, pero there are no blue lights because of the work of the yellow filter. Yes, walang dumaan na blue color dito. Wala pa rin dadaan na blue color light dito. Why? Because of the work of the yellow filter. So, the light passes through without blue light. So, as you can see, this Cayenne color is actually a blue and red sensitive silver haze plus that turns out to be Cayenne. Usually, what is the work of these two? Usually, these three emotion layer. So, gato lang kadali yan. Their work is to apply colors to the image because this is a colored film. Kaya nga colored yan eh. Usually, like here, there are no colors because this is black and white. And here, colored. From the word colored, why there are color magenta, cayenne, yellow? Why? Because this is a colored film. That's why we have that color. So, if you ask me what is the work of this, to apply colors, usually these two here are the one that actually processes the main color of the picture. So next, subbing layer. So what's the work of the subbing layer? So this is the work of the subbing layer. Ensures optimum adhesion of emotion layers to the film base and also contain light absorbing silver to prevent scattering from a light by reflection from the support surface, which is the halation, which or usually are anti-halation backing or layer. So usually, as said earlier, this one contains a light absorbing silver, which is he helps the light, the colored light passes here to be more centric. For short, the work of this one is also a support. Ganito lang. Ang trabaho nito is to make the light not what we call this not scattered by it. The help of subbing layer is not to make the light that passes through the colors here that will process later as a image to be not scattered, to be more centric. Kumbaga, nakagitna, naka-align, kumbaga straight line lang. Diba usually, as we see minsan paggabi, we have flashlight, we see yung parang tuwid na ganun, diba? Na guide sa gilid. Pag yung flashlight natin, medyo ano yung gilid, diba? We have that thing na parang pag ganun siya sa gilid. So, parang ganun lang din. the subbing layer helps the light process in here on this part, the colored thing that lately will transfer to a image to be not on this thing or sabog-sabog, to be part the light passes in here that will form as a image later will be like this, will be more centric. So this is the work of the subbing layer. So what is the work of the film base? So let us see. Film base, like earlier in the black and white, film base so excuse me, film base support acts as a support of the emulsion. So meaning to say, the film base, like what I explained to you in the black and white film earlier, that the work of this is to help the emotion process the color more efficient, or ganito lang. Ang tulong ni film base is to process the color from the emulsion to be more, ganito lang. Ma-process niyo yung light or the colored light na which is later will be resolved to a image. So the work of the film base is to make the color more, parang more, what we call this, mas buhay. So ayun yung tulong ni film base. So the help of subbing layer, wala malilito. The help of subbing layer is to help the light that passes in here up to here and then will down on here to be more centric, not to be shattered. And then the help of the film base is to enhance more the light, the colored light that comes on this emotion layer. So meaning to say, ganito lang, subbing layer, gusto niya lang, ang trabaho niya lang is to focus the light, or igitna niya like, ayaw niyang ikalat yung light, kumbaga ang gusto niya mangyari sa ilaw, hindi pa ganyan, hindi sabog, hindi pa ganon kalat. Ang gusto niya straight. Which is, ang trabaho naman ni film base is to help the emotion layers to process the light or to process the color more clear. Kumbaga ganito lang. Ang trabaho nito is yung light na, yung color dito na magpa-process. Pagdating dito, which is lately magiging picture, ang gusto lang trabaho nito is madala niyo yung madala niyo yung kulay na na-process nito, and then madala nito ni film base yung kulay papunta dito sa baba ng more enhanced. So ganun lang yung trabaho ni film base. Sana wag tayo malito. So lastly, the anti-halation backing natin. So like I said earlier, the work of this is to prevent bouncing back to the emotion, the light that comes from him, that he absorbs. So, usually anti-halation is the one that captures the light. So, ito yung nagka-capture ng colored light na galing dito. Kasi colored film to. So, the colored light came in here, and then he is the one who will absorb the light, and then usually her another work is to prevent the light bouncing back to the emulsion that usually but ganon is to prevent destroying the image. Ganon lang. And then usually pa yung another role ni anti-halation backing sa colored film? Ito lang. Act as an anti-curl layer. So, ayun. So, ayun yung mga parts ng colored film and then black and white film. So, this is my finished work. Actually, this is my black and white, and then this was my colored. So, I hope you learned something on me, and then thank you, Ma'am Kat, and then keep up the ano po ma'am, keep up the more efficient learning and then more efficient teaching on us ma'am. Kasi ma'am, sobrang natututo po kami. And then yun lang po. Good day and goodbye to all of you. Thank you and thank you for listening and then have a good day. Goodbye.